We often regret our words, especially when they come out in the heat of the moment without appropriate consideration. But that is not all, is it? Don't you regret your words when you easily get caught in pointless arguments that drain your energy? But that is not all either. It's like we're obsessed with being heard, and so much so that we often underestimate the power of staying silent. But here's the truth. Silence isn't just the absence of words. It's a shield, a weapon, and a statement of mastery over yourself. And no one understood this better than the Stoics. This isn't the first time we're digging deep into the nature and benefits of silence. And this isn't the first time you're hearing us say Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or retreating from challenges. It's about controlling what you can and letting go of what you can't. There is a reason for this repetition. Mindfulness. Motivating someone isn't easy. It takes time on both sides, and that is especially so when it's about getting people to reflect on things that they run away from, when it's about telling them that the things they believe are facts are anything but. But do you know when it becomes the most difficult? It's when you tell them to think and do good, both for themselves and others. And so, we must go over things that appear counterintuitive to the good inside you. You might do the rest, but we must do our best to give you all the mindfulness you need to understand why you need to always be silent in 9 situations. Sometimes the strongest, wisest, and most courageous thing you can do is say nothing at all, whether it's facing insults, confronting injustice, or hearing rumors whispered about you. Knowing when to hold your tongue can save your peace of mind and your dignity. In this video, we'll explore 9 situations where the power of Stoic silence can turn the tide in your favor, protect your energy. These are the moments when words are weapons, but silence is your fortress. If you've ever wondered how to maintain calm, clarity, and control, no matter what life throws at you, stay tuned. This is the wisdom of the Ancient Stoics, reimagined for the chaos of the modern world. If you appreciate what we are doing here, do us a simple free favor by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And do watch the video till the end to get the mindfulness needed to be silent when you must be so. We post videos that explore Stoicism and its principles every week, sometimes multiple times a week, whenever serious consideration and thought allow it. So, hit the notification bell to never miss wisdom when it comes knocking on your door. Now, let's get started. When being criticized unfairly. In life, we often encounter unfair criticism, sharp words or unwarranted judgments aimed at us. It's natural to feel the sting of such remarks, but Stoic philosophy reminds us that these moments call for self-restraint and wisdom. When you think about it, doesn't unfair criticism often say more about the critic than the criticized? Their words are often rooted in their insecurities, biases, or misunderstandings. Reacting impulsively only amplifies the noise, dragging us into a conflict that may not even be worth our energy. In the face of such conflicts, the Stoic perspective aims to liberate and empower us. It says, keep calm, stay silent, and focus on what you can control. What can we control in these situations? Not their words, nor their motives, but our response. By choosing silence, we demonstrate mastery over our emotions and refuse to give others control over our peace. Imagine someone throwing a stone into a calm pond. The ripples don't come from the stone itself, but from the pond's reaction to it. In the same way, it is our reaction to criticism, not the criticism itself, that disrupts our inner tranquility. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminds us to act according to reason, which means stepping back to assess the situation objectively. Is the criticism valid? Is it worth engaging? Most importantly, does responding serve any constructive purpose? Stoic teachings suggest that instead of reacting defensively, we should practice self-reflection. Ask yourself, does the critique hold merit? If so, embrace it as an opportunity to grow. True strength lies in acknowledging our flaws and striving to improve. But what if the criticism is baseless, a product of someone's personal grievances or misunderstandings? In that case, silence becomes our shield. This simple if-then-else can help us let go of unwarranted negativity, to refuse to carry burdens that aren't ours to bear. There's also an elegance in silence that words can never match. When you remain calm and composed in the face of provocation, it speaks volumes. It demonstrates confidence, wisdom, and self-discipline, qualities central to the Stoic virtues of courage, justice, wisdom, and self-control. Your silence signals that you are unshaken, that your worth isn't tied to external opinions, and often, in the absence of a reaction, the critic's words lose their power and dissolve into irrelevance. Furthermore, silence creates space for clarity. It allows time and reason to clarify the truth. What feels like an insult in the heat of the moment may reveal itself to be a misunderstanding or even a disguised compliment when viewed from a calm and measured perspective. This is the essence of seeing things differently, a practice that fosters not only inner resilience but also compassion for those who lash out. So, when you find yourself the target of unfair criticism, take a deep breath and take a moment to pause and reflect. Recognize that silence is not weakness, it is strength. It is the deliberate choice to practice letting go of battles that don't deserve your energy. In that silence, you honor your peace of mind and align with the Stoic path, cultivating a sense of calm and clarity that allows you to rise above the fray. Stoic silence in the middle of boasts. Imagine being in the middle of a conversation where someone is boasting about their achievements, possessions, or influence. It's tempting to respond, to one-up them, to subtly highlight our own accomplishments, or to call out their exaggerations. But Stoic philosophy advises a different approach: silence. Why? First, because that's what grown-ups do. You know, the ones who have truly grown up? Yes, that's you. But really now, boasting often stems from insecurity or an unspoken need for validation, and engaging in such ego-driven dynamics only pulls us away from our own principles. The ancient Stoics believed in focusing on what truly matters, the cultivation of character, virtue, and inner peace. When someone boasts, they're often fixated on external opinions or transient markers of success. Responding to them, whether to agree, compete, or critique, drags us into that same game, where the goal becomes impressing others instead of staying true to ourselves. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, urges us to focus on the substance of our own actions, not on the opinions others might hold of us. By remaining silent, we show that our worth doesn't depend on how others perceive us. Boasting is like fireworks, bright, loud, and fleeting. It captures attention for a moment, but doesn't leave a lasting impact. In contrast, humility, the ability to let actions speak louder than words, is like a steady flame. It doesn't need to dazzle because its strength lies in endurance and quiet confidence. When we demonstrate humility and choose not to react to boasting, we make a powerful statement that we prioritize substance over show, character over display. Consider this: why do we feel the need to react to boasts? Is it because we feel diminished by comparison, or because we want to prove ourselves? Both reactions are rooted in the same trap, measuring ourselves by the opinions of others. Instead, Stoic teachings encourage us to focus on what we can control, which is our own effort, virtue, and commitment to growth. The achievements of others, real or exaggerated, are outside our control and irrelevant to our personal journey. Silence in these moments is not passive. It's an act of self-restraint. It requires the discipline to resist the pull of comparison and competition, to refuse to play the game of ego. By staying silent, we align with the Stoic virtues of courage, justice, wisdom, and self-control. Courage, because it takes strength to not seek validation. Justice, because we allow others their moment without judgment. Wisdom, because we recognize the futility of boastful comparisons. Self-control, because we resist the urge to respond unnecessarily. But there's more, and for a Stoic, a whole lot more. For a Stoic, remaining silent in the face of boasting frees them to practice self-reflection, the cornerstone of Stoic practice. Instead of focusing outward on what others claim to have done, we can look inward and assess our own actions. Are we living with integrity? Are we making progress toward our goals? This quiet evaluation is far more productive than engaging in a conversation fueled by egos. And as we have already seen, silence also brings clarity by creating a space for it. Boasts over time reveal themselves for what they are, empty words or, occasionally, genuine accomplishments. Either way, they don't require our participation. So the next time you find yourself surrounded by bragging, instead of reacting, silently reaffirm your commitment to your values. Let others boast without feeling the need to compete or compare. Remember that true confidence doesn't need to announce itself. When dealing with anger, anger is like a wildfire. It ignites quickly, spreads uncontrollably, and often leaves destruction in its wake. In moments of anger, it's tempting to lash out, to release the heat of our emotions through words or actions. Yet Stoic philosophy reminds us that this is precisely when silence is most needed. Why? Because anger clouds judgment, and a clouded mind cannot see clearly enough to act with wisdom or justice. The ancient Stoics understood that anger, when left unchecked, leads to regret. Words spoken in anger often wound others and ourselves, creating damage that can't easily be undone. The consequences of anger are much more grievous than the causes of it. Reacting impulsively only intensifies the situation, pulling us further from our inner tranquility. Instead, silence offers a sanctuary, a moment to pause, breathe, and allow reason to regain control. When anger flares, remaining silent is not an act of suppression but of mastery. It is a deliberate choice to resist being ruled by negative emotions and to embody the Stoic virtues of self-control and wisdom. Epictetus teaches us to distinguish between what is within our control and what isn't. In the heat of anger, we may not control the situation or the actions of others, but we always retain the power to govern our response. By choosing silence, we demonstrate that power, an ability to control your mind even when emotions threaten to overpower it. Imagine a scenario. A colleague blames you unfairly for a mistake with a sharp and accusatory tone. Instinctively, you might snap back, defend yourself loudly, or even attack in return. But what would that achieve? Likely it would escalate the conflict, adding fuel to the fire. Instead, the Stoics offer a perspective that urges us to consider the pause. Yes, our favorite Stoic tool at the Weekly Stoic. Take a moment to pause and reflect, the Stoics say. Let the anger subside before speaking. Silence becomes your ally, a tool to prevent rashness and ensure that your eventual response aligns with your values. This practice of silence doesn't mean you ignore the anger or pretend it doesn't exist. No, that would be hallucinating. Instead, it's about giving yourself space to observe it without being consumed by it. Stoic teachings encourage self-reflection in these moments. Ask yourself, why am I angry? Is my anger justified? Even if it is, how can I express it constructively? This pause for reflection transforms anger from a destructive force into an opportunity for growth and understanding. Breathing deeply during these moments can also anchor you in the present moment, breaking the cycle of reactive thinking. As the initial surge of emotion subsides, clarity emerges. You can then focus on what truly matters, not winning an argument or proving a point, but addressing the situation with reason and integrity. This is living according to nature, aligning your actions with logic and virtue rather than being swept away by passion. Moreover, silence in anger can disarm the other person. When faced with someone's fury, your calm demeanor, your choice to stay mindful and silent, can diffuse their intensity. Anger often seeks a reaction. By withholding one, you break the cycle. Over time, your silence can serve as a mirror, reflecting the irrationality of the other's anger back to them. The Stoic path is about cultivating a shift in perspective. Anger is not an enemy to be suppressed, but a signal to be understood. It shows us where our boundaries are, what we value, and where we might need to grow. Silence, then, is not avoidance. It's preparation. It's the pause that allows reason to take the reins, ensuring that when we do speak, our words carry clarity and purpose. In practicing silence during anger, you embody the power of acceptance and self-discipline. You align yourself with the timeless wisdom of the Stoic thinkers. Let's note what Seneca said about anger. The greatest remedy for anger is delay. Silence provides that delay, that buffer between impulse and action, turning what could be a moment of chaos into a moment of mastery. Remember, when anger flares within you, resist the urge to react immediately. Pause. Breathe. Say nothing. Let the silence wash over you like a cooling balm, quelling the heat of emotion. In that quiet space, you reclaim your power, honor your peace of mind, and act not from anger but from reason. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom, and it is in this calm, deliberate approach that you become unshakable. Silence amidst unfounded rumors. When caught in the swirl of unfounded rumors, the temptation to respond, defend, or retaliate can be overwhelming. Rumors, after all, strike at something deeply human, our desire to be understood and respected. But Stoic philosophy teaches that engaging with gossip only feeds its fire. By reacting, we validate the very thing we wish to extinguish. Instead, silence becomes a powerful act of self-restraint and wisdom, aligning with the Stoic ideal of letting our character and actions speak for themselves. Rumors are like shadows, distortions of the truth that grow and shift depending on the light. Responding to them often magnifies their presence, giving them more weight than they deserve. The ancient Stoics would advise us to resist this impulse. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in his Meditations to focus on our own virtue, stating, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." In the face of baseless talk, what matters is not what others say, but how we live. By prioritizing integrity over image, we embody the Stoic commitment to focus on what we can control. Think about the nature of rumors. They thrive on attention, on people engaging with them, debating them, or denying them. When we address them, even with the best intentions, we inadvertently lend them credibility. Silence, however, disrupts this cycle. It shows detachment from gossip and demonstrates that we do not measure our worth by external opinions. This is a display of true confidence, the kind that doesn't seek validation or fear judgment. Imagine someone spreading a false story about you at work or in your social circle. In such a predicament, you might want to defend yourself, to gather allies, or to confront the source of the rumor. But what does that achieve? It pulls you into the muck of gossip, distracting you from your higher purpose. The Stoic approach is to rise above such noise. Instead of reacting, focus on living with integrity so that the truth becomes self-evident. Over time, your actions will reveal the baselessness of the rumors far more effectively than words ever could. Remaining silent in the face of rumors doesn't mean passivity. It means choosing your battles wisely. It's about recognizing that some fights aren't worth your energy. If a rumor arises, ask yourself, does this affect the truth of who I am? If not, let it pass. Truth is resilient. It doesn't need constant defense. Moreover, By refusing to engage, you avoid falling into the trap of vindictiveness or retaliation. Gossip often entices us into counter-gossip, escalating the very dynamics we wish to avoid. Silence, however, breaks this chain. It transforms the situation, showing that you are unshaken and above petty disputes. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom, to act with reason and self-discipline even when provoked. Silence also has a disarming effect. Those who spread rumors often seek a reaction, a spark to ignite the drama they crave. When you respond with calm detachment, you deny them that satisfaction. Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their behavior back at them. Over time, this can cause the rumor to lose momentum, fading into irrelevance. In such moments, the Stoic practice of self-reflection should be your go-to. Ask, what truly matters here? Their fleeting opinions or the enduring strength of my character? By focusing on the latter, you free yourself from the burdens of gossip. As Seneca wisely noted, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Craving validation or a spotless reputation enslaves us to the whims of others, while focusing on our values makes us truly free. The Stoic path is one of action, not reaction. Let your life, not your words, be your response to rumors. Trust in the power of integrity, for in the long run, actions always speak louder than words. When people see consistency between your values and your behavior, they will come to recognize the truth on their own. So, the next time you find yourself amidst unfounded rumors, refrain from addressing the chatter. Instead, pour your energy into your work, your relationships, and your growth. Live so impeccably that rumors cannot stick. Choose silence, and in doing so, choose freedom. How to deal with loss. Loss is one of life's greatest challenges, touching the deepest parts of our humanity. When we lose someone or something we cherish, the waves of grief can feel overwhelming, and the natural reaction is often to cry out, to vent our sorrow, or to seek answers. Yet Stoic philosophy offers us a profound way to navigate these moments, through silence. Not as a denial of grief, but as a way to create space for acceptance and self-reflection. At the heart of Stoicism lies the understanding that life's impermanence is a natural part of existence. Everything we hold dear, relationships, possessions, even our own lives, is fleeting. The ancient Stoics urged us to prepare for this reality, not to harden our hearts, but to soften the blow when loss inevitably arrives. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminds us, loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. This is the Stoic way, not to resist loss, but to accept it as part of the course of nature. When loss occurs, silence becomes a sanctuary, a moment of stillness where we can process the pain without becoming consumed by it. Emotional outbursts, though understandable, often cloud our ability to think clearly and to honor the truth of what has happened. In silence, we give ourselves permission to feel, to mourn, and to reflect on the meaning of what we have lost. This quiet processing aligns with the Stoic principle of facing life's challenges with reason rather than passion. Consider the practice of memento mori, a cornerstone of Stoic teachings. It invites us to regularly reflect on the fact that everything we love is temporary. Far from being morbid, this practice is a way to deepen our appreciation for the present moment. When loss comes, as it inevitably will, the silence we've cultivated through this reflection can help us endure it with grace. We understand that while we cannot control loss, we can focus on what we can control, our response to it. In silence, we also honor the memory of what or whom we've lost. Rather than rushing to fill the void with distractions or words, we can take a moment to pause and reflect. What lessons did they teach us? What joy did they bring? What part of them can we carry forward in our actions and values? This quiet contemplation allows us to transform grief into gratitude, finding meaning even in sorrow. Stoicism doesn't ask us to suppress our emotions or deny the pain of loss. Instead, it invites us to engage with our emotions thoughtfully without letting them overwhelm us. Silence is the first step in this process. It allows us to create a space where emotions can settle and clarity can emerge. By embracing silence, we give ourselves the chance to respond to loss with acceptance, resilience, and dignity. Furthermore, silence in grief helps us maintain peace of mind by avoiding unnecessary words that might deepen the pain. When we lash out in anger or despair, we risk saying things we don't mean or placing blame where it doesn't belong. By staying quiet, we protect our relationships and ensure that our actions align with our values, even in times of great difficulty. But let's be careful in understanding this silence. This silent approach isn't about isolating ourselves from others. Silence can also be shared, a quiet moment with loved ones who understand your loss, a collective pause to honor what has passed. In these moments, silence becomes a language of connection, a way to support one another without the need for words. Finally, silence helps us embrace the power of acceptance. Loss is a reminder of life's impermanence, but it's also a reminder of life's beauty. The very fact that something was worth grieving means it had value and meaning. By sitting with our grief in silence, we can come to appreciate this truth, finding peace in the inevitability of change. So, when you face loss, resist the urge to fill the void with noise or action. Instead, embrace the wisdom of silence. Allow yourself moments of stillness to process, reflect, and accept. Let the quiet teach you what words cannot, that life, in all its transience, is still profoundly beautiful. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom, to find peace not by avoiding loss but by facing it with courage, understanding, and grace. Navigating ignorance with Stoic grace. Dealing with other people's ignorance can be one of life's most frustrating challenges. Whether it's a misinformed opinion, a stubborn refusal to learn, or a heated argument based on flawed logic, the temptation to engage and set the record straight can feel almost irresistible. But Stoic philosophy teaches that wisdom often lies in choosing silence over confrontation. Why waste energy on someone who is unwilling to listen or learn? Instead, silence becomes not just a shield, but a demonstration of restraint and insight. Ignorance often stems from a lack of knowledge or understanding, and it's important to recognize that such gaps in perception are not always deliberate. Many people hold on to their beliefs tightly, even when those beliefs are wrong, because they fear change or feel threatened by differing viewpoints. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, advises us to respond to ignorance with patience and empathy, noting that people act out of their own limited perspective. To argue aggressively or condescend would only deepen their resistance and pull us into unnecessary conflict. Think about a time when you tried to correct someone's ignorance, only for the conversation to spiral into an unproductive back and forth. Did it leave you feeling enlightened or exhausted? Did it change their perspective, or did it reinforce their stubbornness? The Stoic path is to recognize when words will serve no purpose, and instead to focus on what you can control, your own response. Silence in these moments is not a weakness, but a strength. It shows that you are not rattled by ignorance and that you value your peace of mind over winning an argument. Silence also provides an opportunity for calm observation. Instead of reacting emotionally, take a moment to assess the situation. Is this person genuinely seeking understanding, or are they arguing for the sake of being right? If there's an openness to learn, speak only if your words can enlighten or clarify. A calm, well-chosen explanation delivered without ego can sometimes open doors where forceful arguments cannot. But if it's clear that the other person is unwilling to engage in reasoned discussion, then let silence be your response. By remaining silent, you preserve your energy and avoid becoming entangled in the emotional drain of futile arguments. This is an act of self-restraint, one of the core Stoic virtues. It requires discipline to resist the impulse to correct someone, especially when you know they're wrong. But in doing so, you align yourself with the Stoic ideal of acting according to reason rather than passion. Engaging with ignorance out of frustration or pride is rarely productive. Choosing silence, on the other hand, is a deliberate and reasoned choice. Moreover, silence allows ignorance to reveal itself. When someone speaks from a place of misunderstanding, their words often highlight the gaps in their knowledge more effectively than any rebuttal could. By not responding, you create space for others, perhaps even the ignorant person themselves, to recognize the flaws in their thinking. This aligns with the Stoic principle of leading by example. Your calm, measured silence can inspire more reflection than a heated debate ever could. That's not to say we should always remain silent in the face of ignorance. Stoic wisdom encourages us to act with purpose. If speaking up can genuinely enlighten or clarify, then do so with patience and compassion. But even in these moments, your words should be guided by reason, not ego. Speak to teach, not to win. And if the person remains unyielding, return to silence. Finally, arguing with someone who refuses to listen can be like shouting into the wind. Your voice is carried away, leaving you drained and unheard. By staying silent, you prioritize your inner tranquility, refusing to let someone else's ignorance disrupt your emotional balance. You embody the Stoic principle that while you cannot control others' thoughts or actions, you can always control your own. Next time you encounter ignorance, ask yourself, is this a battle worth fighting? Will my words enlighten, or will they fall on deaf ears? If the latter, let your silence speak for itself. How to deal with rumors. Earlier in the video, we looked at addressing unfounded rumors in general, but when rumors specifically target you, the challenge feels deeply personal. The sting of falsehoods, the anxiety over what others might believe, and the temptation to defend yourself can all weigh heavily. Yet Stoic philosophy provides a roadmap for handling such situations with wisdom and grace. It teaches us that responding to rumors about ourselves can backfire, lending them weight or inadvertently spreading them further. The most effective response? Silence. Not just the absence of words, but a deliberate, confident silence that signals you are above the fray. This silence has a unique role to play when compared to addressing unfounded rumors in general. It becomes a personal shield, protecting your peace and integrity. When rumors arise about others or general situations, remaining silent can demonstrate wisdom by avoiding entanglement in gossip and unnecessary disputes. But when the rumors are about you, silence serves an even more important role. It denies the rumor the validation it seeks. Addressing it, even to deny it, can make people wonder, if this isn't true, why does it seem to bother them so much? In contrast, when you dismiss rumors with quiet confidence, you project an image of unshaken certainty. Your silence speaks volumes, sending a clear message. These rumors are beneath your attention. Marcus Aurelius offers guidance for such situations in his Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you're the target of a rumor, you can't control the words of others, but you can control your reaction. By remaining silent, you show that your self-worth isn't tied to external opinions. It's natural to feel a desire to correct the record, but consider what that achieves. Does denying the rumor extinguish it, or does it fuel curiosity? Human nature often assumes that a defensive reaction hints at guilt or insecurity. The Stoics offer a perspective that advises against this trap. Craving the approval of others by addressing their rumors impoverishes your inner peace. Instead, let your silence show that the opinions of others hold no sway over your sense of self. Silence also allows the rumor to fade naturally. Over time, people will shift their focus to something else, especially if they see no reaction from you. But the role of silence doesn't stop there. When it comes to rumors about you, silence isn't just an absence. It's a deliberate presence. By refusing to engage, you reclaim your narrative without uttering a word. Your silence communicates that you have nothing to prove. It lets everyone know what's on your mind about those rumors. Absolutely nothing. This is a uniquely personal form of silence, distinct from the more general application of staying out of gossip. It becomes a powerful statement of inner confidence, telling the world that you are too grounded, too self-assured to be shaken by trivialities. And so, when the rumors target you, silence has a deeper role. It shields you, protects your integrity, and demonstrates that you are above rumors. Only silence can convey that message with the power and clarity that words cannot. Trust that your silence, paired with your consistent integrity, will outlast any falsehood. When confronted with injustice. Injustice is a fire that can ignite deep within us, fueling outrage and a desire to right the wrong immediately. When we witness or experience it, our instinct might be to react impulsively, to lash out in anger or frustration. But Stoic philosophy teaches us a different path, one of calm, deliberate action. While Stoicism firmly opposes passivity, it also warns against emotional reactions that can cloud judgment. In the face of injustice, silence becomes a powerful tool, one that allows us to pause, reflect, and respond with justice and courage rather than recklessness. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, encourages us to align our actions with reason and virtue, even in moments of provocation. When confronted with injustice, remaining silent initially doesn't mean ignoring the wrong. It means giving ourselves the space to think clearly. A rushed reaction, driven by anger or indignation, may inadvertently perpetuate harm or escalate the situation. Silence, on the other hand, creates a pause that allows for thoughtful assessment and intentional response. Yes, that pause. Now, let's consider the workplace again. Imagine witnessing an act of unfairness at work, perhaps a colleague being unjustly criticized, or a decision that discriminates against someone. You might want to speak out forcefully in the spur of the moment to call out the wrong on the spot. But consider this. An emotional outburst could distract from the issue, turning attention to your reaction rather than the injustice itself. By taking a moment to pause and reflect, you gain the clarity to address the situation effectively. Silence in that moment is not inaction, it is preparation. The Stoic approach to injustice is to act not from passion, but from principle. As Epictetus teaches, we must focus on what we can control, our own thoughts, words, and actions. By remaining silent initially, we maintain control over our emotions, preventing them from dictating our behavior. This silence gives us time to evaluate, what is the best I can do here? How can I address this injustice without failing my virtue and reason? Silence, then, becomes a form of strength, a pause that empowers purposeful action. And no, this doesn't mean that Stoics shy away from confronting injustice. On the contrary, one of the Stoic virtues is justice, which demands that we act fairly and advocate for what is right. But justice requires balance. A knee-jerk reaction, no matter how well-intentioned, can lead to unintended consequences. Silence in the moment allows us to ensure that our response is not only courageous, but also effective and just. Silence also gives us the opportunity to assess whether a situation truly demands our intervention. Not every perceived slight or unfairness requires action. Sometimes, what seems like injustice at first glance may reveal itself to be a misunderstanding upon closer examination. By remaining silent initially, we can observe the situation more clearly and avoid reacting prematurely. This aligns with the Stoic principle of living according to nature, which includes acting with reason and discernment. When confronted with calm composure rather than emotional retaliation, those who perpetrate injustice may be forced to reconsider their actions or explanations. Your silence in that moment becomes a mirror, reflecting their behavior back at them without the distraction of heated words. This, too, is a form of action, one that disrupts the cycle of hostility and opens the door to resolution. However, once clarity has been achieved, Stoicism calls for action aligned with courage and virtue. Speak up when it is necessary, but let your words be guided by purpose rather than impulse. Let them be measured, rational, and effective. As Seneca noted, the bravest sight in the world is to see a great man struggling against adversity. Struggle against injustice, but do so with dignity, wisdom, and self-control. Silence, then, is not an absence of response, but the foundation of a thoughtful and principled one. It allows us to step back, center ourselves, and ensure that our actions serve justice rather than exacerbating conflict. It reminds us that while we cannot control the actions of others, we can always control our own behavior. And so, the next time you are confronted with injustice, resist the urge to react immediately. Instead, embrace the power of silence. Use it to ground yourself, to assess the situation, and to choose your response wisely. When you do act, act with reason and purpose, ensuring that your actions reflect the Stoic virtues of courage, justice, and wisdom. How to handle insults with Stoic wisdom. Insults are a test of our self-mastery, a provocation designed to rattle our sense of self. In moments when others aim to demean us with words, Stoic philosophy offers a timeless piece of advice: remain silent. Why? Because an insult gains power only when we react. By responding with anger or defensiveness, we give the insult life, allowing it to affect us. But when we meet it with silence, we strip it of its power, showing that our dignity and self-worth are beyond the reach of petty words. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminds us, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. This Stoic principle is key to handling insults. The insult itself has no inherent power. It is our perception of it that gives it weight. By choosing silence, we refuse to let the insult penetrate our peace of mind. Consider the nature of insults. They often stem from the insulter's own insecurities, frustrations, or misunderstandings. Their words say more about them than about us. When we react, we lower ourselves to their level, engaging in a battle of egos that serves no purpose. Instead, silence demonstrates a higher level of maturity and self-control. It communicates that we are unshaken, that our character is too strong to be moved by trivial provocations. Imagine a scenario where someone publicly insults you, perhaps questioning your competence or ridiculing your beliefs. The urge to snap back is natural, but ask yourself, what will this accomplish? Will it change their opinion, or will it escalate the conflict? The Stoic approach is to pause, remain calm, and let the insult pass. In that silence, you demonstrate quiet confidence, showing that your sense of self is rooted in your values and actions, not in the fleeting judgments of others. This approach aligns with the teachings of Epictetus, who advised, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. The strength of character lies not in defending against every insult, but in recognizing that true worth is not determined by external opinions. By choosing silence, you maintain your composure and prioritize your peace of mind over the fleeting satisfaction of a verbal comeback. Insults, like pretty much everything we've discussed today, are often thrown with the expectation of a reaction. When met with silence, the insulter is left with nothing to fuel their aggression. Your lack of response can expose the futility of their words, making their insults seem hollow and irrelevant. This is how silence becomes not just a defense, but a quiet victory. Over time, this practice of silence strengthens your inner resilience. The more you refuse to be rattled by insults, the less they affect you. You come to realize that your worth is independent of others' words, that your character speaks louder than any insult ever could. By remaining composed, you show that you are governed by principles, not provocations. This silence also serves as a teaching moment for those around you. When others see you handling insults with grace, they are reminded of the power of restraint and dignity. You become a model of the Stoic mindset, demonstrating that true strength lies not in retaliating, but in rising above. Let the insult pass without validation. Embrace this mantra. Trust that silence is not a sign of weakness, but of immense strength. In that silence, you embody the heart of Stoic philosophy, showing that your character is unshaken, your self-worth untouchable, and your actions governed by wisdom rather than impulse. If you like what we do, feel free to do more by liking and sharing the video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, to the community. How, you ask? By hitting that like button as a symbol of your commitment to change, by subscribing to join a community where wisdom isn't just shared but lived to help us create powerful stuff. And don't forget to hit the notification bell, the gentle chime of a Stoic philosopher, reminding you to return to this space of learning and growth. Each like, each subscription, each notification is a step towards a collective awakening. And if you feel that stirring in your heart a resonance with the words of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, or Epictetus, share this video. That will help us immensely in continuing to create unique and powerful stuff for the community. Everything changes when you truly hear what Stoicism has been telling us all along. Everything gets better. Your self-discipline, your self-control, your temperance, your cultivation of inner peace and resilience, your self-awareness, your equanimity. You practice forgiveness more often. You stop caring what others think. You start to live with a sense of calm, clarity, and purpose. Even the practice of Stoic principles of the dichotomy of control, negative visualization, memento mori, amor fati, and the view from above gets easier and, more importantly, effective.